Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from the Frontier. Thank you for stopping by. I'm always grateful. Well, the week's gone by, don't they go by quickly? I attended a Deloitte chat yesterday about the budget, and there were lots of very interesting points that were made. And Nikhil spoke about the fact that if you have illegal money abroad, the definition of illegal is still not clear. Bring it back because the Cabinet Secretary has given you an amnesty. And then Sami made a point that I completely agree with. He said every time agriculture does well, GDP surges, and he's spot on with that. And we got lucky with the El Nino phenomenon in the sense that we got more rain whilst everybody around us got parched. Macro thoughts look at this asset price performance league table that Holger tweeted. Oil, of course, is the biggest mover since the beginning of the year. Holger again, another franc shock in the making. Trauma of Swiss National Bank haunts traders planning for Brexit. And then Jamie McGeever, maybe the clearest sign of the lack of faith in the recovery. US yield curve below 90 basis points for the first time since 2007. Home thoughts, I went back to Hafez, a suspended blue ocean. The sky is a suspended blue ocean. The stars are the fish that swim. The planets are the white whales I sometimes hitch a ride on, and the sun and all light have forever fused themselves into my heart and upon my skin. There is only one rule on this wild playground. For every sign Hafez has ever seen reads the same. They all say, have fun, my dear. My dear, have fun in the beloved's divine game. Oh, in the beloved's wonderful game. Here Hillary Clinton tweeted, to every girl who dreams big, yes, you can be anything you want, even president. Tonight is for you. I thought that was really powerful. I think she's really surged this week. Her message is beginning to resonate. If you look at her photograph, she looks much more confident, and really noteworthy move on her part. I took this photograph of Nairobi from the Capital Club last night, looking up towards Westlands. I like this photograph reeling in the evening catch in Roberts Port, Liberia. That was because of World Oceans Day. And then, of course, this photograph caught my attention. People swarm around Muhammad Ali's casket, and this is at his burial. Political reflections, Hillary Clinton. Again, look at this photograph. This is what I'm talking about. I've never seen her look this radiant when she tweeted, thank you. As I said, she's surging. President Obama said, I'm with her. Hillary Clinton, in response to a Donald Trump tweet, Obama just endorsed crooked Hillary. He wants 4 more years of Obama, but nobody else does. And Hillary tweeted, delete your account. Then I like this photograph. We can't wait to welcome back President Obama and Hillary Clinton to Wisconsin on Wednesday. And essentially, I think she's in charge now. I think the spontaneous combustion risk for Donald Trump's very high, but I think her message is now resonating and she's winning. Obviously, as I've said before, it's like Brexit. There's an event risk component to all of this. You get a big attack a few days before the election in the US, a few days before the vote in Brexit, and things can change quite dramatically. We won't suffice with words, Lieberman warns after attack. He was here actually not too long ago. I actually met him. Euro 2016, Francois Hollande, big event. Obviously, it must be like a magnet to some of these terrorists. Beijing harsh. China's Xinjiang Muslims require DNA samples for travel documents. Interesting development. Joseph Biden, Your bravery is breathtaking. You are a warrior with a solid steel spine. He's talking about this young lady who was raped in Stanford. When you have 3 daughters like I do, your perspective in these matters is pretty fixed. Not that there would be any different if I had 3 sons, but I'm just saying, you see it very much from the girl's point of view. And I remember my 2 elder girls are 18 and 19, and I said, I never ever want you to be in a position where you're not in charge of your decisions. And I think I'm going to have to drum that in again. The Vice President wrote that he was filled with furious anger, rightly so. Asia Times is an interesting piece about something I've spoken about for a long time, which is about how the South China Sea has become the new battlefield. Have a look at that link. Let's move on to the markets. There's so much going on. Global free fall, safe haven rush, spurs record lows, low yields in Japan, UK and Germany. Have a look at this image that Holger posted. UK bond yield falls to record lows, Brexit vote approaches. Last trading at 1.22%, the lowest since Bloomberg started tracking the data in 1989. Yield on 10-year German Bunds was little changed at 0.05%. Treasury 10-year note yields fell 2 basis points to 169%. Let's move on to the currency markets. Euro 113.05, got below 113. Dollar index 94.15. Japanese yen 107, the figure. Swissy 0.9642, that's firming up. Pound, when I walked in this morning, 144.40, now 144.27. The Australian dollar 0.7394. India rupee 66.795, South Korean won 1165.39, the Rial 339.89, Egyptian pound 887.79, but they've put out some very strict rules against bureau de change and black market trading. South African rand, when I came in this morning, 14.85. Last time I looked, 14.88. I think that's about to leap over 15. Sterling 1-month volatility at 23%, higher than at the time of the Scottish referendum, nearing 2008 global crisis levels. Have a look at this 3-month chart of sterling. The target on my chart still says 136.50. I think we might be breaking down towards that now. Dollar yen, this is a little bit old, but it gives you a good idea. Shows the work that was done at 106.50. We're now at 107.02. Jamie at Reuters stressed dollar yen FX basis market nearing crisis levels, raises red flag for broader market stability. And then David Inglis, look at this, everything from 3-month to 15-year borrowing costs in Japan are below 0 now. Isn't that amazing? Debt to GDP of about 250%, but they're getting paid for that debt, which is an incredible thought, isn't it? Euro dollar, we got up above 114. We're now just at 113. We looked at levels below 113. I still think there's very little supporting the euro at the moment. Commodity markets, the commodity winning streak comes to an abrupt halt. That's Thomas Bichoval. And we've seen that oil has retreated quite sharply actually from its highs earlier this week. Agriculture has in fact outperformed other subsectors of the Bloomberg Commodity Index, which is interesting. Have a look at this chart that Bloomberg posted. Gold 1266.90 looks toppy to me near term. Have a look at this chart, gold versus copper. Interesting outperformance by gold. And then copper has fallen to a 4-month low. Finally, crude oil, I'll put up a 6-month chart, just hanging on above $50. But it looks as if it's topped out. Will Kabila stay or go, asks Africa report over bottles of Tembo and Primus beer. Speculation over these questions mixes these days with rumba to form the new soundtrack of Kinshasa's bars. But, says Pascal Kambali, the former DRC country director for the Open Society Initiative for Southern Africa, anyone trying to predict outcomes or what it will look like process-wise has learned nothing from the complex political history of the country. My conclusions, well, in part, I wrote over the weekend, I was talking about the battle for the street that we're seeing here in Kenya and many other parts of Africa. And I was saying that President Kabila, however, outwitted Moishi Katumbi by removing him from the street in the Congo entirely. And it might well prove a cleverly administered technical knockout. I said I flicked the channels and came across a report from the Congo where opposition presidential hopeful Moishi Katumbi had been leading the street against a third term for Kabila. Birthday boy President Joseph Kabila is constitutionally barred from running for a third term, and Katumbi has set out his stall now and is a formidable adversary. In fact, the numbers were building, and Katumbi must have been thinking that this might just turn into a tsunami. President Kabila, however, outwitted Katumbi by removing him from the street and the Congo entirely. And I said that might well prove a cleverly administered knockout blow. Of course, the precursor was the Burkina uprising in Ouagadougou in 2014, which terminated beautiful Blaise Compaoré. I said the street is a tinderbox, and it has become a major area of political contestation across the continent. There's a common saying in South Sudan that when our leaders unite, they loot, when they divide, they kill. In fact, that's about it, isn't it? Ethiopia stifles dissent while giving impression of tolerance. The Oromo Federalist Congress, an opposition party in Ethiopia, represents the largest ethnic group in the country, the Oromo. Yet its office in the capital, Addis Ababa, is virtually deserted, with chairs stacked up on tables. A chessboard with bottle caps as pieces is one of the few signs of human habitation. In a side office, the party's chairman, Merera Gudina, explains why the place is so empty. Almost everyone has gone to prison. The deputy chairman, prison. The party secretary general, house arrest. The assistant secretary general, in prison. 6 members of the party's youth league, all in prison. Critics of the Ethiopian government regularly land in prison. So why isn't Merera Gudina, the chairman of the party and an outspoken critic of the regime, also behind bars? The reason, he says, is what he calls the game of the 21st century. Less than democratic regimes are getting more sophisticated, and instead of completely crushing dissent, they seek to create the appearance of tolerance, or even a multi-party democracy, explains Merera. In the case of Ethiopia, strategy was laid out by the late former Prime Minister Meles Zenawi. After the opposition won 32% of the parliamentary vote and appeared poised to challenge the government. Wait for the opposition to grow legs, Meles said, and then cut them off. South African all shares up 5.25% this year. Dollar rand, I think, is headed back over 15. Last trading, 1487.98. Egyptian EGX30 up 10.71%, outperforming all other indices in Africa. Nigeria all share down 4.74%. Ghana Stock Exchange down 11.76%. Mozambique's president has dismissed his finance minister. Informal sector on tax radars. East Africa boosts spending. The informal sector contributes about 55% of sub-Saharan Africa's GDP, according to the African Development Bank. In Kenya, it employs 12.6 million people out of a total workforce of 15.2 million, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics data show. In Uganda, 1 in 5 households have an informal business, while almost half of Tanzania's non-farm employment is informal. The World Bank says it's a big effort now to bring them into the tax bracket. Kenyan political unrest raises fears of new flare-up in 2017 vote. Kenyan politics is already taking a deadly toll, more than a year before elections, likely to pit rival dynasties against each other, raising fears of a new crisis less than a decade after ethnic violence killed 1,200 people. We're really scared, 30-year-old Julian Nyanga, speaking near a Kisumu supermarket, smashed up in this week's clashes. It's a minefield waiting to explode. There is a genuine fear, genuine worry that things might turn nasty, said one of 12 envoys who signed the statements. Kenya will burn if Raila loses, said Wycliffe Otieno. The opposition says the vote cannot be credible unless the IEBC is reformed and its commissioners changed. The government says this must be done in Parliament, where Kenyatta's Jubilee coalition dominates in line with the constitution. Talking about devolution rapidly turning into a theatre for violent local conflicts. So we're in a very tricky situation, and I wrote about this over the weekend when I said street protests will hurt 6% growth forecast. And I quoted Virilio, the revolutionary contingent attains its ideal form not in the place of production but in the street, where for a moment it stops being a cog in the technical machine and itself becomes a motor, a machine of attack, in other words, a producer of speed. I said the street is a tinderbox, and it has become a major area of political contestation across the continent. Deloitte's reclassification of Chase Bank's Islamic banking assets into insider loans triggered a series of events that led to the collapse of the lender. Directors of the troubled lender told MPs on Thursday. Ousted Chairman Zafrullah Khan held that Deloitte's treatment of Sharia banking assets, technically referred to as musharaka, as loans amounted to professional misconduct. It was evident that Deloitte was simply not interested in appreciating the nature, substance of the musharaka assets or the principles of Islamic banking. The definitive word was said by the central bank governor, Patrick Njoroge, at Mindspeak on this particular matter when he called it a gimmick. Regarding Imperial Bank, he said never before had so few robbed so much from so many. He termed fraud as a crime of opportunity with the use of IT systems. He called the Chase Bank Islamic banking excuse a gimmick. The governor said he was likely to take an office in the law courts this year as he prosecutes these cases, and I take you back to that article I wrote on the 18th of April when I spoke about Chase Bank and the story of the three wise monkeys, Mizaru, Kikazaru, and Iwazaru. Safaricom closed at a record high for the second consecutive day yesterday. It's up 11.963% this year. The markets are indeed the message. If you didn't see my interview with Bob, have a look at it. He indeed is the man of the moment. In an interview with Reuters, he spoke about the direction of the company is to become a platform, talking about joining up with a local software company to bring out a taxi app to compete with Uber. It's effectively a rival for Uber, he said. It is a local competitor which will be cheaper and better for the local community. Then he's talking about the platform effect of Safaricom. I asked him, because there was a lot of chit-chat about whether they were going to apply for a banking license, and he said, "We have not applied for a banking license nor bought a bank and have no intention of doing so." Centum is up 14.024% since releasing full year 2016 earnings. Big price reaction we've seen there. Kenya shilling, 101 level. Nairobi all share up 0.66% yesterday. It's up 0.47% year to date. NSE 20 down 5.51% year to date. As I said, the Nairobi all share rallied. The NSE 20 hurdle of 3,800 level. Equity turnover yesterday went ballistic. We clocked 2.662 billion shillings. Safaricom surged 1.96% to hit an all-time high for the second time, 18.25, up 11.62% year to date, versus an all-share which is negative over the same period. The markets are the message, and I think my price target from the beginning of the year, which was 22.50, is going to be hit. At the time of the full year earnings release, I said there are not many companies in the world able to deliver these kinds of numbers and raise the dividend by such an amount. And I'm saying now the world is playing catch up. KCB edged 1.369% lower to close at 36. The price has turned defensive ahead of the rights issue. It's oversold. Centum, as I said, we've had a 14% rally since they released their results, but it seems to We have had some profit taking today. BAT traded 1.313% of its shares, worth $1.083 billion shillings. It's up 5.09% this year. With the interbank rate at multi-year lows, the dividend that BAT pays is looking very attractive. EABL firmed 0.33% to close at 301 and saw good volume action. That's up 10.25% this year. The last day for the Kenyan rights issue is today. And I think actually it's a bit of a buy. Once again, thank you for stopping by.